And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Tomorrow's flying weather, tomorrow mornings. A lot of marginal VFR with IFR, especially back along the west coast and up along the Brooks Range for tomorrow morning. And IFR, southern Bering Sea into the Aleutians, along the north shore of the Alaska Peninsula. Kodiak Island, though, starting out with VFR conditions right on up into Cook Inlet, southern Susitna Valley. But IFR here along and south and east of the Alaska Range, and a lot of IFR here coming up to the North Gulf Coast into Prince William Sound over to Yakutat, marginal VFR for the Northern Panhandle. For the afternoon, IFR slips on into Lincoln Island Glacier Bay, but improving as you head south toward Dixon Entrance. IFR along the North Gulf Coast here to about Cape St. Elias, marginal for Prince William Sound. And you can see improving conditions, Kodiak Island on up into south central Alaska. VFR, eastern interior to the eastern Arctic coast. Some IFR for the western North Slope. In the northern Bering Sea, becoming VFR all the way down to, north of the Pribilofs, marginal VFR for St. Paul, St. George, Nunivak Island, southwest coast. IFR for the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutians. And for Thursday morning, IFR here from the north side of Nunivak Island and then Adak-Atka westward. But now that VFR all the way down south of the Pribilofs now, so from there up through the Bering Strait into the Chukchi Sea, VFR, Seward Peninsula, same thing. And pretty good here in the interior, just some areas of marginal VFR, and then pretty solid area of IFR here for the North Slope and the Arctic coast. And the southeast coast, pretty marginal. And then for the afternoon Thursday, IFR now back over the northern southeast coast, marginal down to Dixon Entrance. VFR into Prince William Sound, Cook Inlet, back into Bristol Bay, southern Kuskokwim Valley, Kodiak Island. And some more VFR here over the north central interior areas. And otherwise, Yukon Delta and most of the Kuskokwim Valley into the Copper River Basin, marginal VFR. Marginal VFR, eastern Bering Sea. And an area of VFR out through here, and then more IFR coming into the Aleutians to about Adak in the afternoon. Anaktuvik, marginal VFR becoming VFR in the afternoon, improving for Adigan as well. Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal VFR. Marginal for rainy and windy at this point, looks like could be IFR. And Isabel, same forecast IFR there. Mentasta, marginal VFR. Tanita, marginal. Portage, though, VFR. And Chilkoot and White, IFR. Looking at the freezing levels, about 4,000 to 6,000 feet central eastern interior on down the southeast coast. And then some colder air coming southward here into the northern Bering Sea, 2,000 feet south of St. Lawrence Island, 4,000 feet down to near the Pribilofs, and then back up to 10,000 to 12,000 feet for the Aleutians. Icing with the moisture coming in, got some areas of considerable moderate rime icing moving across the northern Susitna Valley and the Alaska Range there. Extreme southern Tanana Valley, another batch out here over the southwest interior, and maybe a little bit there for the western North Slope. And for the jet stream, low pressure at 33,000 feet here, right up here just east of the Seward Peninsula. So northwest winds up to 100 knots. They're coming down into the Bering Sea, turning westerly at about 80 knots around that center, then dropping off to 60 knots over the eastern interior. 9,000 feet, north winds out here over the Bering Sea, 30 to 40 knots, turn northwest, and then westerly and southwesterly, diminishing as they go down to about 40 knots. So it picks up a little bit along the eastern North Gulf Coast, Copper River Basin, and 3,000 feet. Same pattern, northeast to north here, about 40 knots from the western Arctic coast of the Bering Strait, 35 to 40 knot winds over the northern and eastern Bering Sea, northwest 40 right across Kodiak Island. Turbulence-wise, moderate turbulence, Kodiak Island up into the Barrens, Kamishak Bay, the Aleutian Range, northern Bristol Bay, as well as areas of the western interior, but the central and east side looking pretty good. The Aleutians pretty smooth, as well as the southeast coast.